All right, everyone. Welcome once again. It is Friday, and you know what that means? It is time for manufacturing e-commerce success. I am one of your co-hosts today, Damon Postolka, and that pretty man right over there is Kurt Anderson, my co-host, brother from another mother. We're going to be talking today about valuable video strategies for manufacturers with none other than Jeff Long. Take it away, Kurt.
Hey, Damon, dude, is this our first episode? Is it like I'm
It
I'm a little
feels like it.
I'm a
It
little
feels like it.
confused right now because I feel like, you know, we should show a clip of our first episode just for gig. You know what? I should have had that prepared.
We should have.
Well, I should have had a clip of our very first episode. So, guys, happy Friday. What an honor. What a privilege. Damon, we're in the 11th month already of the year.
I know.
We're on what happened in 2023. My goodness, it was just January, like yesterday. So here we are kicking off November, and we are with none other than the one, the only Jeff Long, Dayton, Ohio, True Focus Media. Jeff, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, especially after that introduction. Wow, yeah, it's always fun to chat with both of you, whether it's just personally or here on the live stream. So yeah, excited to be here talking video and how manufacturers can leverage videos in different ways, right? And so yeah, we'll get into a bunch of stuff.
Well, a lot of good things to cover. And so, Jeff, I just want to so guys, drop us a note. Let us know that you're out there. Give Jeff Long a big, warm welcome. Give him a hello. Connect with Jeff on LinkedIn. And so what an honor and privilege to have you here today. Now, you are a repeat offender. Not only are you a repeat offender on the program, dude, you were our first batter of all time, and you will always have that legacy no matter what happens. So you can share that with the kids, put that on your fridge, tell mom and dad that you were the first guest. And dude, we've stuck with it for like a few years now. So
yeah,
they haven't kicked you off yet, huh?
Believe it or not, yeah.
So thank you for being the first guest. You've been on multiple times. We appreciate your friendship, your support, and just what an honor. This is just really a really special moment. So let's dig in. Please share with everybody who and what is True Focus Media. How do you make the world a better place?
Yeah. So True Focus Media, I started it in 2003, like 20 years ago, which is crazy. Like that
you're a teenager, right?
Apparently, yeah. I was wearing even diapers probably back then. No, it was my first kind of real job a couple years out of college or whatever. And so that kind of dates me a little bit. But anyway, yeah, I started the company with two friends, business partners. And back then we were just a video production company and honestly more of a general production company. So a couple of things happened there. I'll try to summarize 20 years into like 20 seconds, but we try to listen for common problems and find solutions, right? So while we started out being, go-to experts on the video front, and that was before YouTube, that was back when DVDs were actually kind of like a big deal, right? This is kind of funny to even say that out loud. Now you find them, the $2 rack at Walmart or whatever. Yeah. And so companies would ask us about, modifying their website, improving their website and all things related to that. So we did that. And that's always been our 1-2 punch is video marketing and web design development. But I've kind of, for better, for worse, kind of people know me most of all on the, the video side of things, which is obviously what we'll talk about here today. But yeah, like I said, I try to listen to problems and when, a person has hey, Jeff, do you guys do this? It's either, yes, we'll figure it out, or yes, we've done it before. Right. And granted, there are plenty of projects and scenarios that aren't a good fit. So I don't mind saying no and referring that out. But I also like the challenge of trying something innovative or something a little different or a twist on something we've already done. So, we've done projects in 3D where, we bring a special camera that shoots in 3D and 360 degrees. So once it's edited, you put on these virtual reality goggles and like you feel like you're in the facility.
Oh, wow.
Feel like you're on the plant floor. It's mind blowing. So all that to say, I've just been really blessed, over these years to work with some really good people to network with folks like you guys and so many more. And probably 5-6 years ago, I wasn't specialized in manufacturing like I am now. It was like we had a fair amount of manufacturing clients, but I took a step back and it was like, you know what? Manufacturers are good people. They're making awesome stuff. And as a visual person, like it's easy to show,
Yeah.
something being built and created and welded and all that good stuff versus, some other industries, IT and others, it's kind of hard to show like what's in a computer, what's going in that server rack. Whereas manufacturing, it's visual, it's great, good people making good stuff.
Well,
Yeah,
speaking
that's
of good
awesome.
people, I want to Damon, let's give a little background on our buddy Jeff Long. So, hey,
Get
happy
with it. We
Friday.
got Ava
Ava's
here today. We got Harry. Great
Hey,
to have
guys.
you here today. If you're listening and want to drop a comment, we'll get you up here. Let us know where you're listening from. And if you got any questions for Jeff as you go through, make sure to ask him. Kurt, let's hear about Jeff from your standpoint.
I had the honor, like, when you know somebody pre-COVID, that's like, like
Yeah.
it's almost like dog years, right?
Like
So Jeff
lifetime
Long and I, we connected on talk about community, right? The value and power of LinkedIn. We connected here on LinkedIn, joined a community, Chris Lukey's Manufacturing Happy Hour. And just, there's a lot of people and you just kind of gravitate towards that one guy. We're like, man, that guy is smart. That guy is of integrity. This guy's just awesome. We became fast instant friends. And one thing, Jeff, your parents are college professors, if I have that correct, right?
Yep.
And so you are just a fierce educator. And right off the bat, you and I started working with MEPs, manufacturing extension partnerships. If you're not familiar with that, boy, reach out to me and I'd love to connect you with your local MEP. But you started doing webinars and we started doing those together. And we did them in Alaska. We did them in Illinois. We did it at Purdue. We did it here in New York. We did it for different SBDCs, Temple University, different ones throughout here in New York. And so we did a lot of programming together of just really educating manufacturers on different tips, strategies, how to grow their businesses. So again, kind of it's in your DNA, but just share a little bit with the folks about like that passion that you have for educating manufacturers how to grow their businesses.
Totally. And I'm glad you brought that up because let's be honest, sometimes marketers get a bad rap, right? It kind of, we may overhype things. We may do this, but like, I look at marketing as more of an education play, right? How can we teach somebody, our ideal buyer or end user, distributor, whatever that is, how can we teach them so that they're more educated? It builds trust and they feel more confident in their buying decision, hopefully with us, right? And so I always help companies with that. I find that a lot of companies, they're really good at what they do, what they make, and they talk about that, but they don't think about what their ideal customer wants to know, right? And so that's almost like the foundation of what we do is like, all right, tell me about who you're selling to and who are the influencers in there and how can we appeal to them? How can we show them something new or answer a question or calm a fear? So there's all these different ways we go about it. It's not just bragging about, it's not just a company bragging, hey, we've been around for X amount of years. We have great people and products. Doesn't that mean you want to buy from us? Not anymore. Right. So it's all about educating your ideal customer, and trying to, show that you're the expert, show that those fears are going to be answered in the solutions, or in the problems you're solving.
Right. All right. Perfect. Let's dive into, let's get into the weeds on a couple of things here first. Okay. Maybe, I don't know, maybe even dispel some myths. Okay.
Yeah.
Does a video marketing strategy have to be super expensive, or can I get by just pulling out my iPhone or whatever phone somebody's using? Do you want to take us there?
Yeah. So to me, that is like $1 million question, because it's so important. And there's several ways to look at it, right? So to me, at the foundation, I love the quote, and I should know who said it by now because it's in all my webinars. It says, marketing is everything and everything is marketing. Right. So down to the business cards, I even tell people, hey, when you're on a Zoom call, especially like a sales call, and your camera looks bad, your lighting's bad, your audio is bad, like that reflects, that's marketing of your company, yourself, to that, prospect. So yes, a couple of things. Yes, you absolutely can and should use your phone in many situations. However, I think there are some situations where it probably doesn't put your company in the best light, or you or your product. So it's just trying to figure out where that line is. You know, I think now, especially millennials and younger, they view authenticity and realism more than professionalism and perfection, right? So it also kind of depends on your target demographic and some of those things. So, you know, obviously it's not a one size fits all question that you're asking. You know, a lot of times when we're doing a company promo video or a new product launch, or, you know, we're promoting a product or whatever, I think, yeah, high quality is necessary. I think when we're doing more, when we're showcasing our expertise, you know, through live streams and podcasts and video clips and video value bombs and stuff like that, I think the value is in the content more than the quality of the video. So that's kind of where I fall. Like, to me, it's two sides of the coin. It's both and. It just depends on when you use each strategy.
Excellent tips and points there, Damon. Hey, we've got Dan is in the house here today, dropping a couple comments and a few questions.
He's got you know, he's got an ERP consulting business, and he's talking about his video strategies. Looking forward to hear some of the strategies he can use.
Yeah, and Dan's an awesome guy. Jeff, you and Dan should definitely connect. And he's got a couple questions here. See, great point about educating your customer. How do you use LinkedIn to do that? Should you build a thought leadership platform? Jeff Long, do you want to tackle that question for our dear friend Dan?
So the short answer is yes, right? You should build a thought leadership platform, no matter the size of the company. And I'm seeing more and more companies do this. It's all about exposure and who knows you, right? So if you're a small machine shop or a multi-million-dollar company, you still got to get people to know, like, and trust you. Well, how do you do that? Well, you can showcase your expertise. You can answer common questions. You can talk about problems and solutions, case studies. I mean, you know, the list goes on, obviously. So I think, you know, almost everybody in a company, especially salespeople and some of the executives and company, you know, external facing people, should be creating content. And again, that is where you can use your webcam or smartphone and get started there. Because the more people that know that you're the expert, they're going to go to you. I mean, I was just at a manufacturing networking event last night, and a couple people came up to me. Hey, Jeff, been loving your video value bombs. You know, thanks for those tips. Those are so good.
Awesome.
You know, and let's face it, most people don't love being on camera, including me. I don't love it. I've gotten to a place where I'm pretty good at it, you know, obviously with my job and all that. But I love teaching people, like we mentioned before, and helping people.
Yeah.
And when that's in my brain, I get less scared, nervous, anxious, thinking, oh, what are people going to think of me? What, you know, I'm going to maybe give the wrong answer. It's like, I've been doing this for 20 years. Like, I'm the expert in my field, just like, you know, you, the viewer, are the expert in, you know, stuff that I don't. So just give me a tip.
Right.
And so, yes, again, short answer is you should build up a thought leadership platform where your ideal customers, clients, et cetera, are. LinkedIn, you know, for me, primarily YouTube and some other platforms.
Yep. Hey, we got Sarah Murray in the house.
Sarah Murray's here today.
Happy Friday. And I, man, Jeff,
there's an educator as well.
Sarah should absolutely connect. Sarah came on the show. Sarah, I want to give you a shout out, my friend. You gave me some tips. I went to a trade show and I was at the MEP conference. I used some of Sarah's tips and strategies. And man, thanks to you, Sarah, they went over phenomenal. So connect with Sarah. Now, but I also want to come back to you, Jeff. So 2 points that I'd love to make. Okay. Number one, you know, like that uncomfort of being on camera, right? Everybody's a little bit uncomfortable. Damon, if I had Jeff Long's hair, if I had that head of hair, I'd be I'd be everywhere, man. I'd be on the cover of GQ magazine somewhere. So Jeff Long, all right. It's really hard to be on stage with a guy like Jeff, but
it's all fake. It's just a toupee, you know.
Same. You know what? Same here. This is a bald cap that I put on. You know? So I got like a big full head of hair. So let's go here. Let's go here, Jeff. All right. So, dude, I'm raving. You know, that's your wife and kids, mom and dad. I'm probably I'm right there, like vice president of the Jeff Long fan club. So not only I've hired your services, and you make it so, dude, your patience for putting up with a guy like me. I don't know if you remember, Damon. So Jeff and I were at a trade show conference in Cleveland, and he was so gracious and just so kind and just so generous with your time, and you wait. I'm like, Jeff, I messed that up. Let me do it again. I messed that one up. And talk about like how do you nurture your clients? You just have such a calming presence. Just talk about how you work with your clients to like really put them at ease to come on camera.
Yeah. Wow. So let me think about that. So a couple of things, you know how at different parts of your career or tasks you're doing, you feel like you're in the zone, where it's effortless, it's fun. It's like, that's how I feel like on a video shoot. A lot of times we're doing interviews or we're doing some of this. Like, I love that. I love, because it's hard. It's hard being on camera. My word, whether, we do like teleprompter reads or we do more just interview type stuff where it's just, off the cuff. Yeah. So a lot of it is, like you mentioned, Kurt, just putting people at ease. We've got plenty of tape or whatever the new terminology is for, SD cards. I should update that phrase because it's only been like, 30 years ago since we used tape. But it's just kind of letting the person know that who cares if they make a mistake? We can redo it. Of the X amount of, minutes or whatever we film, we're going to, cut it way down. So we're taking the highlight reels, the highlights of their longer conversation. So who cares if they mess up 20 times, as long as we have that, little highlight reel, we're good to go.
Yep.
Now there have been a few people in my career that were a disaster, but honestly, most people, no, Kurt, I promise you. Yeah. So out of the, I don't know how many people have interviewed.
We're not talking about anyone in the room, of course.
Yeah. We're not talking to anybody.
Yeah. Name rhymes with Bert Sanderson. There's been only
that's classic.
Probably I could count on one, maybe two hands, in all the hundreds or whatever interviews I've done, because we're able to kind of, I don't know, get their anxiety kind of lowered and things like that. Yeah. So and really it's about telling your story, educating the audience, and really showcasing your expertise. And when you kind of focus on that, again, the anxiety does diminish a lot. Doesn't go away 100%, but it diminishes.
I'd say I was just on a call with a new lead yesterday and just kind of like looking at his product, his, everything, and just, just sitting there and just listening. I'm like, dude, I would do one thing only. I'd go all in on video. And and he was just like, Jeff, I know, like, we're both very biased. Just if somebody's going to do one thing, it's hard to argue. Like, I don't care what your product, what your solution, what your service is. It's really hard to not say, like, you need to go all in on video. I mean, right? I mean,
well, and that's where, like with this Video Value Bombs service I have, right? So it's a content marketing service. So every month we help you with a content roadmap. What do you talk about each month? And then we record it, make it visually engaging. But yeah, so once we do that, then we can write articles. We have quotes. There's graphics that can come out of it. It helps your SEO. It's a social media marketing play. So a lot of times when I'm talking with companies, they're like, oh, we're trying to do SEO and write more articles. But then their hair's on fire because they're kind of doing separate pieces for all that. And I'm like, let's kind of bring it in, do one theme, per video. And then from the video, that's the foundation. Then we can branch off and do these other, types of multimedia articles and whatnot from that. So it's kind of the foundation is what we typically do.
Yeah. And the thing that I think that video gives you that just really, other than in person does, is it allows someone to get to know you. Totally. To see your quirks, to see the way you talk, to see the way you feel. And that may turn people off, or it may that's somebody I think I'd like to be around.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the cool part about it, because if you're that manufacturer out there and you're talking about, custom sheet metal fabricated assemblies or whatever, or some wicked CNC thing, or your product you're making, or complete product, you're an OEM. I think people a lot of times underestimate the personal touch that's in that with that video. Yes, we're talking about a product. Yes, we're talking about your skill set. Yes, we're talking about that. But they're also looking at I shouldn't say not looking at you. They're trying to meet somebody that they want to work with. And if you can do that together, that's the pinnacle. That's where you want to be. And then you talked about this highly produced, not highly produced. I think one of the things that a lot of manufacturers that I've seen, or just businesses in general, they think they need some highly produced thing like that for that kind of content. And I think there's a point in there when just being real, being on video, a little bit rough around the edges is so good for people to get to know you. But
absolutely. Yeah. And it takes, at least for me, it takes some like ramping up to, or I kind of have to get in the zone to like make my videos. Right. And
yeah,
I love them. I love doing them and they're fun, but yet I heard a speaker a couple years ago say he recommends talking, depending on the person, like 20% faster. Because a lot of times video kind of sucks our energy out, right? They say, video adds however many pounds. I think it sucks away X% of your energy. I think, even if you're like, wow, I'm really energetic today and I'm going to talk about my product. And you think you're being energetic, but you're just kind of flat.
Right.
So, something I recommend to people, increase your energy a little bit, use your hands, try to get a little movement, and that just adds a little bit of excitement to it. So there's tons of these little tricks that I don't want you to be fake, of course, don't be somebody else. And probably with Kurt, I'd say, can you like dial it down a notch, Kurt? Maybe 50%, but no. But yeah, it's like you mentioned, Damon, it's people seeing who you are, how you interact. And then if you're not a good fit, maybe somehow you're kind of turning them off to your product, service, company, whatever. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
You made one video and you attracted a bunch and you repelled a few. I mean, that's living the dream, right? Like, cause you didn't then have to talk with all those people. They kind of self-selected.
Yeah.
I agree 110%. And I had a note. I wanted to bring that back up, Damon. And Jeff, I'm glad you confirmed that. Let's talk about that for 1 second. You're weeding out the bad dates.
Yep.
Right. You're like, if like, hey, if I'm, though my mom thinks I'm for everybody, Damon, I'm just not, I'm just not for everybody, And so the thing is, let's not go on the first date. If like, my jam, my thing, whatever, your, whatever, if it's not a good fit, like, let's not pursue this. But it just, if it is a great fit, it's a video, just really, it's just such a great affirmation. Jeff, you and I had the honor and privilege. I moderated. You did an amazing webinar jam session that we did at Purdue University just several months ago. And you were talking about your 7 points. And I feel like you were hitting some of them real quick. You ran through like SEO, trust, some of these factors. Touch on those, if you don't mind. Let's go into those real quick again. Just said, like, if anybody just joined us, or just let's run into that one more time. I don't want to put you on the spot to list off all 7, but just talk about if somebody's not doing video on top of some of the other things that we've talked about. SEO, what do you mean by that? Keywords, headlines. Let's go there for a minute.
Yeah. So we'll start with the SEO thing. Obviously, SEO, search engine optimization, or like I tell people, hey, it's just where you are in the Google search, right?
Right.
Or these days, the Siri search or Alexa, or we've got to start we've got to be thinking about not just Google, even though Google's at the top.
Right.
Yeah.
But then because it's video, we got to be thinking from a Google ranking perspective about YouTube as well. Google bought YouTube, dozens of years ago, and so that should come into play also. So if your company has certain products, I always, look at the 80-20 rule. Like, what are the 20% of your products or services that give you 80% of the results, revenue, et cetera? Let's focus on the 20%. So we create videos about, your key, 20% of your products or services. And then from there, we can write SEO articles, and those could be more simple. You could, at the very least, take the transcript, and that's something, right? Or write it into something that's a little more readable and article familiar, looks more like an article. And then Kurt, like you said, there's keywords in there. Make sure your title is attractive, to your ideal reader and buyer. And so that's just one, offshoot or benefit of video, is it kind of has this SEO thing baked in. Oh, and one other thing, especially for companies that are more location specific which a lot of manufacturers aren't, but hey, there's some that are more location specific. If your video content and written articles have those location keywords, that can actually like propel you even further and faster than, you know, a company that's like multinational and trying to hit every, you know, every continent or whatever, versus if you're more regional or state specific, you could really crush it by talking about, hey, we did business in, you know, Fort Wayne, Indiana, and here's what happened and blah, blah, blah. And so just a little secret tip there.
Hey, we got some comments here, Damon. Should we grab some of these?
Dan's got, he said, that's how you found Kurt and Damon. Well, I'm sorry, Dan. No, Dan's a good guy. We appreciate it. And I love, thanks so much for the kind comments there. We really enjoy being able to talk with people like Jeff today and just share so many good people. But and Jason talks about being a little rough around the edges. Yep, that's
you're just.
I think we epitomize that.
Yeah, just a little bit rough. And hey, and let's go here real quick. And Jeff, I want to tagline one thing you just said, and then I want to pull up a comment that Sarah just dropped, because I feel like that ties in perfectly with a little thing that you have going on. But Damon, you and I love making that comment. How can you help your ideal customer make that buying decision on a Friday night at midnight without having to wait for you to open up your doors on Monday morning? And Jeff, what I've learned a ton from you is like, you've really mastered of like, how can, you know, I have a massive machine shop and I have a customer in Milwaukee. They can't come to me. How can I bring my facility to them? And so that's what I feel like you've mastered. And I know we're going to dig into some examples, but do you want to just hit on that? And then I want to pull up a comment from Sarah in a second here. Yeah,
totally. I mean, we can tell somebody about our company, products, services, people, all until we're blue in the face, but like showing them, I mean, that takes the cake, right? So if we can't be in person, obviously showing them through video is like the natural conclusion. So they can see the size and the scope of your machinery and the type of outputs you can do and maybe some of your personnel and things like that. So yeah, it's, I mean, obviously I love video, you know, I could go on for days, but it does so much.
But there's so much you can share as a manufacturer, like you said. You could just go out and hey, we got this cool piece of new equipment that's doing this for us, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Man, I still remember the first video I saw of yours. You were in some kind of grain processing plant or food plant or something. It's got something to go. I was like, man, I'm hooked. This is the coolest stuff ever.
Right.
You know, there's so much that manufacturers can share. Just so much.
Yeah. Absolutely. And the thing is, it doesn't need to be like super exciting, sexy, and all that stuff. It could be like, you know, if you're an engineer at Boeing, you know, like that circuit board machine that's just like, you know, picking and placing parts, you know, might be like the best thing you've ever seen because like you're seeing dollar signs and you just solve the problem. So I want to go here. So again, guys, thank you for the comments. Thank you, Jason, Dan, Sarah, everybody out there. Drop notes, any questions you have. Jeff Long is a video. He's with Jeff. We have Jeff Long today. True Focus Media, video marketing guru, expert, and just on top of it, just one amazing human being. He just iron sharpens iron. He just makes everybody around him better. And I have the honor and privilege of calling him friend. Sarah Murray, man, I encourage you guys connect with each other, man. This is just such a wonderful, great group of people, and we appreciate you guys. Sarah drops getting knowledge bombs already. Sarah, and I don't know if you already knew this, man. That was just a great line right there. And she also says, I appreciate comment about prospects self-selecting based on your videos too. What I'd love to share is you've mentioned the phrase video value bombs a couple times now, Jeff Long. Can you please enlighten curious minds would like to know what on earth are video value bombs? And I think like, do you have like a thing for like things blowing up or what's going on here, right?
Yeah. So we were talking a little bit before the show about, we'll talk about video value bombs and then if there's time, trade show TNT. And I was like,
trade show TNT.
Like, apparently I watched too much Roadrunner growing up as a kid with things blowing up and exploding. You know, I'm not necessarily a violent guy, but apparently in my subconscious, the Roadrunner is still in there.
That's right.
Yeah. So one of my strengths is that I'm an entrepreneurial, creative person, right? And so even though we use it in a marketing way with video and other things that we do, I'm always thinking of like, what will help more companies, what's different, unique, what's working in one industry, but not ours, et cetera. And so, you know, like we're talking about today, high-end, high-quality video, great. There's a time and a place, but it's not the only option, obviously. content marketing is huge, right? I always say, content marketing is key and video content is king. And so it got me thinking like, okay, what could I create that would be beneficial? And so somehow the name came to me. I don't even know, but video value bombs is like, every company has so many experts in their company that maybe they're on a sales call or a presentation and they're dropping these value bombs, right? But the whole world doesn't get to see that. So what if we put some of these value bombs in videos, hence the name? And so I created this kind of 3-part structure. So the first part is, and I mentioned this a couple minutes ago, is, okay, what should a company talk about? Right. So, Alan, I'll answer your question here about, with the tax service. So it doesn't matter, tax service, manufacturer, whatever. Think of a content roadmap. What are frequently asked questions that you get, or maybe that you see on forums or social media or wherever, right? You can even kind of pluck out common questions that other experts get asked, and then you answer them. You're going to answer them in a slightly different way than the other person, right? And that's fine. So step number 1 is a content roadmap. What do you talk about? Frequently asked questions. What problems are there in the industry? What opportunities do you see? Did you just go to a trade show or whatever, and you want to kind of share the news? There's so many different things you could talk about. I think if you really spent 10, 15, whatever minutes, I think most people could come up with 50 plus different topics, So anyway, that's kind of phase 1 of the 3-part process. I don't know if you want to talk about anything within that content roadmap section.
Well, I love, and Alan, great question, guys. And again, hey, John Buglino's in the house today.
Yeah, John's here today.
Hey, John, Mr. Jersey, how are you, my friend?
Yeah. And then I like what Sarah talked about too. This is something that people, really, I think that if you're in, and like Sarah is, if you're doing that sales/business development work, FaceTime is such a great way. I mean, video to me, I feel almost weird if I don't see people when I'm talking to them anymore. I mean, I bought an iPhone for goodness sakes, just because my mother couldn't figure out video without it, and it's so now we get so used to seeing video when we're talking to people that it in the sales process, I think it's a huge thing. And it's just kind of an extension of the recorded videos and the shared videos that you have into that to be able to really build those relationships until you're in person.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. So again, all right, I want to go here, Jeff. Do we have a little show and tell today?
Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Good. So let's, as Jeff is pulling up again, if you just joined us, we're here with Jeff Long, True Focus Media. And Jeff's one of these guys that, a lot of times you hear marketers where they're the cobbler's kid with no shoes. If you go to True Focus Media, check out his website. He has tons of resources. He has testimonials. He walks you through how to great video marketing strategies, tips. And again, please, please, please do yourself a favor. Follow Jeff on LinkedIn, connect with him. He's just an amazing human being, number 1. Number 2, he puts out just consistent, great content. He practices what he preaches. He puts out all sorts of videos of tips of how for you to do exactly what best tips, best strategies. And Alan, again, like whether you guys are in the service sector, tax services. Hey guys, it's 4th quarter. Did you know end of year you should be doing this? Hey, did you know for 2024 this? Hey, did you know that there's a new tax thing that came out? Hey, your 401k is blah, 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 blah. There's so many things that a lot of times I find they take for granted, especially manufacturers, like, oh, they know that. They don't know it. You're the expert at your product, your solution, your service. You eat, sleep, and drink and breathe your solutions. But man, they just don't know it. And I encourage you, and I try to do it for myself. Don't take it for granted. So Jeff, if you want to share, and if you're hitting present, I encourage you to hit, I think the first tab, if you pull up tab, that seems to work best.
You said select the tab.
Yep, hit present, and then hit tab.
Share the audio too if we want audio on it.
All right, okay, cool. So this is Stober Drives, and they're a gearbox manufacturer in Kentucky. Amazing company because they have amazing people. I know a lot of companies say that, and it's true. They're innovators. They're they're always reading cool business books and stuff. Some of the same books I like to read. So I always like, working with them. And we've done dozens and dozens of videos over the years, both high end and these video value bombs. So this we started right before COVID hit. And so I think we filmed the first batch, the first like 5 or 6 videos that we had in the can. And then COVID hit, and all their salespeople, of course, were grounded.
Yeah.
But thankfully, small silver lining is we had these video value bombs rolling out. So over the course of COVID, I mean, we did a series of 24 of these videos.
Wow.
And again, and they're very customer centric. Out of the 24, they did one video that was pretty much a self-promotional video about Stober. I mean, most companies are like, hey, we need 23 videos about us and one about our customer, right? But Stober gets it. So this is a 2.5-minute video. Yell at me if you can't hear it, but let me just play it and I'll make it full screen here in a second.
Have you ever had difficulty mounting a gearbox?
Okay.
Don't worry, you're not alone. Mounting can be a hassle and creates numerous issues for customers. Improper mounting and incorrect specification of the mounting position are some of the leading causes of premature failure. Let's discuss how to minimize mounting failures in this episode of Stober's Power Tips. When installing a motor, make sure the coupling is the specified distance from the motor face. Failure to correctly locate the coupling on the motor shaft may cause axial thrust loads, which can result in premature failure of either the motor bearings or the adapter bearings. Specifying the correct mounting position is often difficult for users. They may not know how the gearbox will be mounted yet, or may not understand how the manufacturer labels the positions. However, knowing the mounting position is vital. It determines the gearbox's oil quantity, which ensures all gears and bearings are properly lubricated.
So I'll stop there. I mean, I can keep playing it if you want, but so for me, I see that and I read that and I'm like, okay, that's great. But obviously it's not geared towards me,
Yeah.
So
Go ahead, Damon.
But it's such practical information for somebody.
Yeah.
I'm a design engineer. I've got this project. I don't want to screw up what I'm doing. I could watch this for 2.5 minutes and I might have saved our company millions of dollars in field problems down the road because he covered a couple things. That the bearing thing about the motors, the oiling of the gearboxes, that doesn't happen right away. That happens down the road, which is way worse because it would slide through and get out into the field. It's just cool when you can do that.
And I didn't show you this at the end of the video, at the end of all of these 24 videos, each person, excuse me, let me back up. Different people are on different videos. So there's probably 10, 15 different people over the course of these videos, which is great, right? We want to showcase the experts of the company, not just one, but many. So at the end of each video, each person says something like, if this information was valuable, check out or download below. And we have right on the video, we have this email pop-up that somebody can put their name and email, get emailed or get put into their CRM, and then get an automated, email response with the PDF download and some other goodies. So now this video, it used to be, hey, we know, 1,000 people watch this video. Were they our target audience? I don't know. Now we know, okay, we have this many signups or engagements. And most manufacturers don't need, hundreds and thousands and crazy amounts of leads. They just need good ones, right? And so some of the videos that we're producing are geared towards good leads through these video content.
I couldn't love that more. We have a dear mutual friend, Wesleyan Greer, and when she's great at doing the buyer persona workshop.
Nice.
And when she does that, man, I learn so much every time I'm with her. As a matter of fact, I'm doing a LinkedIn workshop with her in 2 weeks at Purdue University, and she says, speak to one person. Just speak to one person, unless you're direct to consumer retail and you need masses and, you're playing a numbers game. And I totally get that. But Jeff, I love what you're saying about just really digging deep into that quality relationship. And again, look what you're doing. If I'm the engineer or I'm in purchasing or whatever, and that little tool that Stober has and that process, man, that is music to my ears of what they just showed. And just thing is, if they're getting asked that same question over and over again, just think of the time saving. They're like, hey, Damon, guess what? let me send you a little video for your help to make your life more efficient.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's a really strange phenomenon with being on video. And maybe there's been studies done. For some reason, I find that if you're on a stage speaking, on a stage or on video, people just think you're more of an expert. It's like, it's this magical thing where, well, you've been on a stage or you're on a video, you must really know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Smart.
Which I hope you do. But so it's kind of an amplifier that's really fascinating.
Right. And when that customer or that engineer from Boeing does call, and now the gentleman that was just speaking, they're like, oh, I'm like you said, if they put them up a little bit, oh, like you're actually on, like, oh, you're here. Right. Like you're actually helping me. The video guy is actually talking to me. Yeah. So that is awesome. Jeff, do you have anything else that you wanted to pull up? Any other?
Yeah, so on the higher end, I want to flip back to the higher end thing, right? So, this was a project we did with Cargill last several years because it was such a big project, and some of it happened to be during COVID. So they have this, I think it's a 600,000 square foot facility that they purchased from a different company. They were retrofitting it to their needs, and so we did a bunch of things. We scanned it with some 3D cameras and did some virtual tours. We created this mini documentary, but what I want to show you is this digital magazine. So they wanted something that was unique, like not just a website, but something that felt kind of like a magazine, kind of like this interactive thing. So it has these different panels. So if you go to lewisburgwest.com, you can find this. But so as I kind of, go through each panel, I can read about, what this production facility. It's geared towards obviously specific types of buyers. But let me kind of show you just a short video here. And I think these higher end videos are good for, again, a product launch or when you're promoting your company from a high level brand perspective. And so let me, again, share my screen here.
Yep.
I think that's it. Yeah.
There we go.
All right. So. You hear it?
Yep.
This plant is a game changer. We think the whole industry is going to look at us as an example, how to make products safe and effectively.
So the equipment in the facility can be broken up into effectively 4 sections. The first section being the bulk. This is how we handle our carrier materials. They typically come in on bulk trucks and come in large quantities. The automated weighing and dosing system, or the AWDS, is the real new star of this show. That system was specifically chosen and designed around some of the vitamins and minerals that we have here. Those materials can be typically hard to handle depending on viscosity, seasonality, temperature changes. So we went with a really robust system that has dual weighing capabilities, so we can do large quantities or smaller quantities with the one system rather than having to use up 2 bins with 2 different scaling loads. That system by itself has really allowed us to take a lot of the material that's weighed by hand today, which could be up to 1 million bags a year, and take that off of an operator and automate it, which then leaves only 5% of the mass of what this plant is predicted to produce on the hand weighers.
So from a human safety and health standpoint, we're letting the machines do the work instead of the people do the work. So as you go through the system, then we have the dosing silos that give the extreme amount of accuracy. And then the way we're moving materials in this tower is another unique feature is we're using moving containers. They're containers on a track essentially, and they move back and forth under the AWDS system to pick up the micro ingredients. And then once those ingredients are all put together in a batch, there's another set of moving containers that picks up the next level. And ultimately at the bottom, then you have one major container that takes the materials and dumps it into the packaging systems, whether it's totes or whether it's bags. So the unique thing about this tower, and one of the most unique things about this plant, is we use no mechanical conveying systems inside the premix tower to move low inclusion premix. That's really important because it reduces cross-contamination, reduces carryover that might get into other products. So we have very clean design here. We also assure our customers of the integrity of that product, that it's exactly what they want, nothing more, nothing less.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
That's an Oscar winner right there, Jeff Long.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
I'm super proud of that project, and the people there were just phenomenal,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it got me thinking. Damon, a little bit ago you asked, with our phones, and when do we shoot ourselves versus professionally?
Mhm.
I mean, like for that project, I don't think any of those guys wanted to take out their phone and try to assemble, do interviews or show different things. I mean, you can do little clips, of course, but like to put something together that's professional, they don't want to do that, right? It's kind of like I have a CPA. I don't want to do my taxes. I'm gonna mess it up royally, and I've got better things to do. So I think that's kind of again one of those trade-offs.
Yeah.
Hey, we've got a couple of comments here. Hey, my buddy Alan in Indianapolis. Alan, how are you, my friend? Coming back to us again. He was asking about the tax services.
Yeah.
Our videos don't have anyone in them. Can that hurt our impact? I have an opinion, Jeff. I'd love to hear yours first, though.
I think it can for sure. I think people want to see people, and granted, there's like stock photos and photography and all that, but like we know that that's like a stage scene. We want to see the real person. But I get it. There's animated video. There's other ways to kind of not have a real person or whatever. There's we're doing a video right now with a professional spokesperson in front of a green screen. So there's a time and a place for that. But I think for the most part, people want to know that there's like real people. They can kind of like reach out and either wring their neck if something goes wrong, or ask a
High
question.
five when it goes right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Damon, what's your opinion for Alan's question there?
I think it depends. It depends, right? I think that if you're selling a product, you're selling a $9.99 something, but you're trying to tell somebody that you should spend $1 million with me or put a lot of money in our hands, that's a big decision. And they want to know who they're doing business with and some of these things. And that's I really think that's the separator for me. Not that I'm even close to an expert, but I feel that way.
That's a good point.
What about you though, Kurt?
I think, you know what, regardless of what, I'm going to be a little bit biased, regardless of like what you're solving, service, what have you, like I don't care if it's a restaurant, I don't care if it's tax service, manufacturer, what it is. We're selling one thing, Dan selling his ERP expertise. We're selling one thing only: trust. We are selling trust. It doesn't matter, my e-commerce consulting services, Jeff's video marketing services, Damon helps you exit your business, whatever it might be, whatever your God-given talent is, it's about trust. And boy, and again, Jeff and Damon, I thought you guys nailed it right on the head. Though my mom thinks I'm for everybody, I'm just not. So it's weeding out some folks that might not be a great fit. Doing yourself a huge favor there, but really bringing on and nurturing those people. I was on a call right before here, Damon. This is a true story. Just met this gentleman not too long ago. So Alan is actually from near where I live. He's from Fredonia, New York. I live in Lakewood, New York. You know what happens here in like December and January? It snows. It snows a lot. Like when you hear like the horrific snowstorms in Buffalo, New York, like typically like I'm caught either part of that, right? A gentleman watched our live show 2 weeks ago. I was on site at a manufacturer. We're trying to do this thing. He loved the live show. He's flying up here to visit me because we want to take things to the next level. So because he saw a live stream, really enjoyed, and so we're looking to do this project together. He goes, I'm going to come up here in December. I'm like, dude, have you ever been to Buffalo?
Yeah, do you really want to do that?
I'm like, are you sure? So anyway, I'll let you know how that goes. But Alan, I'm sorry, that was a long-winded answer. Get the people out there, get your face out there, talk, show your expertise, FAQs, as Jeff said. Harry, great comment here.
Yeah. The emotion part of it. And I think that ties back to what Alan's asking, how can you really see and feel emotion if it's something that's not a person or, a puppy? That's a bad one for me, but something that's in a video really. Right. And it's hard to get that. And people, Don Williams says this a lot. He's the salesperson that I know him for many years. People buy on emotion, whether it's a $5 item or a $5 million item. That emotion is how you connect with those people to get their attention.
Gosh, I lost track, dude. Like whenever Jeff Long's in a room, like we lose track of time. Gail is in the house here. So Jeff, what do you think about this one? Great insights. I've worked with Jeff Long. He knows his stuff, drop the mic. Of course he does.
Boom.
It was a seamless process. Very happy with the results. As a PR strategist, I value collaboration with people like Jeff Long. I concur. Gail
Yep.
Long. Gail, it's been way too long. We need to get you
Yes.
back on the show. I miss you. Hey, and Alan dropped a thank you guys. Makes perfect sense. Jeff, let's start. I want to be mindful of everybody's time. I could keep you here all day. Let's start winding it down, brother. I want to make sure that we covered everything. Is there any other parting thoughts, words of wisdom that you want to share? Damon, what do you have?
I've got a nerd question.
Oh, you got a nerd question.
Yes.
Let's do it.
What is the coolest piece of video equipment that you work with that we wouldn't know?
Bam. How about that question?
Yeah, the coolest piece. I have so many cool. I'm just looking around my
I
desk.
know, because I
gear over there.
imagine Jeff going down the road. He's got like one of those panel vans full of video equipment. And
Yeah,
he's like,
it's insane.
"Oh, I got this."
Right.
It out. You're like,
Well,
that's
Jeff's
amazing.
Jeff's not far. I've traveled with Jeff. We've done live streams together. We've done the video work together, and he is a pro. So
I have an equipment cart with like boxes and bins and things of gear and equipment and backups, and it's
So
pretty hilarious.
awesome. Jeff, let's go here real quick. So like for our friends, like say Alan's getting started out, or like,
Yeah.
you know, guys like Damon and myself, like how about any tips, advice that you would give there?
Totally. So, you know, if you're doing something like a video value bomb, right, where you're doing, thought leadership pieces.
Mhm.
So the camera I recommend, it's called a Logitech Brio, BRIO. It's
I'm
probably
using
about
it.
$100, give or take. Is that what you have, Damon?
Yep.
I bought one. You sent me the link on Amazon, and
Exactly.
and guys, when Jeff Long speaks, man,
You
you
do it.
listen. And so I'm using a Brio. I have the microphone that Jeff Long recommended, and I know I probably have a long way to go. But I encourage you guys connect with Jeff after. He has a really nice list of things that can help you. You can see what a professional he is. Jeff, anything else? You got the Brio microphone. Any particular microphone that you recommend?
So yeah, the one I recommend is called this Audio Technica ATR 2100. I think they have a slightly newer model. Anyway, again, I think it's around 100, give or take.
Yep.
You know, so we're not breaking the bank here.
Yep.
And then, you know, as long as your lights are good, which, you know, you can use something from Amazon or Costco. Like, it doesn't have to be, you know, just a nice solid light.
Right.
So I was going to answer your question, Damon. Probably it's such a silly thing. I have this big LED light panel. It's waterproof. You can change the colors on it. And I use that just to like highlight and throw some light on, you know, product, if we're doing a product demo or something. And along with that, I have this turntable. So you put the thing on it and it just turns it, you know, 360 degrees. It's pretty awesome. So I'm a nerd. It's
Cool
super
stuff.
Well, this is Jeff, as always, you exceed expectations. And again, guys, if you just joined us, you know, Damon and I, we've been doing this for, we just had our 3-year anniversary together, Damon, and man, I have loved every single one of them. And hopefully we just do this forever. And Jeff Long was our absolute first guest. Jeff, I'll never forget when I called you up and I was like, hey, dude, we're thinking about doing this thing. LinkedIn came out with this new thing called LinkedIn Live. And Damon and I were 2 old dudes. We're just going to wing it and do it. Would you be our first guest? And you accepted the offer, and we appreciate you. We applaud you. I've had the honor and privilege. I'm working with clients with you, with MEPs, and you're just a guy of integrity. Just worship you. I send in the most manly way possible, send love to you, your family, and you're just such a great guy. I encourage you guys, welcome you, invite you, connect with Jeff on LinkedIn. And hey, if you've been hanging out with us for a while, it's a great time to stand up, give a little stretch, and give a big round of applause for our dear friend, our good buddy, Jeff Long. So, Jeff, and hey, how about late to the party, but what an epic group of people here. Dave, right back at you, my friend. So, Jeff, thank you for everything. Appreciate you. Thank you for joining us today. Damon, I think we're going to wind down. Man, I just don't even want this one to end. So this is so good. I can't wait. What number should we have Jeff back on, right? I'd like to have him here every week, but what number should we have him back on?
We'll figure that out.
We'll figure that out. And he was just on the bus tour with us recently, right?
That was a blast. Hey, can I ask you guys a real quick question?
Absolutely.
So we talked about video, and I think video helps, like I've said before, showcase your expertise. It brings exposure, eyeballs. Live streams, of course, are a huge part of that. Whether it's a simple or long answer, how has this live stream you've been doing for 3 years expanded your reach, your community, your pocketbook, all of those things.
I just can't even you couldn't imagine it.
Yeah.
You can't imagine it. And it's all the pocketbook, all that stuff is does that. But the community and the friends that you meet. I mean, Kurt and I mean, it's just it's crazy. Kurt and I know it's crazy, but you meet so many great people, so many opportunities, so many things to learn. And we talk about this a lot. People just getting to talk to people like you every week, a couple times every week. You're exposed to so many different things. It's like a continuous fire hose of learning, which is just so cool.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not sure how we pull it off, but we just have amazing, incredible people that come on every week. And it's like it's like, I feel guilty. It's like free coaching sessions with just incredible, amazing people and the community that we've built. And Jeff, you and I, we do it, and Damon, we do a lot of work with the MEPs.
Yeah.
And, I was at the MEP annual conference last, whenever it was, September. And I walked in and I know that person. I knew there were 600 people in the room. I'm not exaggerating. I probably knew nearly 100 of them.
Wow.
It was just like friendships and relationships that we've built thanks to, and because of the show, and because of wonderful people like you and amazing people that come here, Alan, Gail, Harry, Dan, Dave Chrysler, everybody that joins us. So just what a blessing. And Damon, you don't know this yet. We're going to be doing a jam session in December about live streams. And so we'll take that conversation further. But today was all about Jeff Long, video value bomb guy, TNT. He's exploding growth
with him.
and exploding sales for manufacturers.
Yeah.
So connect with Jeff on True Focus Media. Jeff, hang out with us for 1 second. Guys, thank you for being here today. I encourage you, I invite you, I welcome you. Just be someone's inspiration, just like our dear buddy Jeff Long is today for all of us. Damon, take it away, my friend.
All right. Well, thanks so much for being here today, everyone. I love the comments. Always like those comments. It's great. We have people coming back every week, new people seeing us, old people coming back. So great. And like Kurt and I said, we're just blessed to be able to have awesome guests like Jeff here today, dropping so many nuggets throughout this. They got to go back and listen. Tell your friends about it. Have them come and listen to us next week. We'll be back again. Have a great weekend, everyone.